Throughout the world, my brothers and sisters, the church and even our homes, a common question is asked. People want to know if the waters of life are navigable, and if they are, how? People are looking for ways to deal with the challenges, the uncertainties, and the difficulties of life. Somehow we want an assurance that the direction of our life will offer meaning and in a very beautiful way connect us to something much larger than just simply our individual stories. So the question becomes, how do we move forward? What are we to teach and tell our children or maybe even our grandchildren? I think, my brothers and sisters, those are the age-old questions that are asked in every single generation. And more often than not, our attempts to navigate life do not make the news. Regardless of whether they're personal struggles or family matters, they are just as real and of no less importance to God. Most of us have been taught to navigate the waters of life through power, through strength, accomplishments, acquisitions. We work to be rich so that we can have what we want. We seek power so that we can take what we want. We argue to be right so we can have our way. We compete to win because somehow we'll be respected and admired. And we want to be beautiful and handsome so we'll be liked and desired. Yet as we think about all of those things and thinking about what Jesus offers, he offers a different way of navigating through life. The waters of life, he says, are navigable, but it's not through power. It's not through strength. It's not even through accomplishments or even acquisition. The way forward is not the way that you and I may have done it always. Navigating life is not about overcoming circumstances or maybe even other people. The truth and the secret is that it's about overcoming ourselves. If you want to look what overcoming yourself looks like, then look at the Beatitudes that were just proclaimed in the gospel today. As we hear Jesus' words and consider the Beatitudes, it's easy to look at ourselves and say, you know what, Father, that really isn't me. That's not even the world we live in. That's not even the church, for God's sake. And I would say to all of you, you're right. And the reason why it's not is because we tend to look at what we are not. And God, on the other hand, focuses on what we can become and who we're called to be. I'll repeat that again. You and I tend to look at what we are not, but God has a tendency to focus on what we are called to become and what we're called to be. I think the temptation is to think that the Beatitudes somehow are rules or conditions that are the ones that allow us to be blessed or to receive a heavenly reward. They're not that at all. They're not about building up. They're not about accomplishing. They're not even about acquiring. They really are about letting go, surrendering, living with a vulnerable and open heart. Today, as I come before you and ask you to join me and the Archbishop in contributing to the ABCD campaign, I want to make you aware that I come before you not simply here asking, but inviting. For I too am a contributing member of the ABCD. Why? Because the Archbishop tells us we have to? Hardly. I'm a contributing member of the ABCD because your generation, or your generosity many years ago, allowed me to be able to be those 9 years in my formation years in the seminary without ever having to worry about who was going to pay for my studies. And I'm here today as a priest to thank you for your generosity. In the very same way that you saw in the video today, my good friend, Father Elvis, who is now at St. Michael the Archangel down in Miami, and with the rightful poster, your contribution allowed me to answer my call. This is why I am so very convinced, blessed, and contributing member of the ABCD. And since I was ordained, I made sure that I paid it forward. Someone did it for me, and now I do it for someone else. Think about it this way. Those many years ago that you contributed to the ABCD, you were investing in someone, unbeknownst to you, that I, through those 9 years, and then almost 17 as a priest, would one day be here with you. If you like me, it was a good investment. If you don't, keep investing. Someone will come and replace me soon. But in all seriousness, I know the ABCD isn't only about the vocation story that I have and those 9 years in the seminary. This parish is very much linked with Respect Life, and we know how very important that is. But for me, it will always be that, to be able to say thank you, to be able to pay it forward. But for me to be able to do that, my brothers and sisters, is with your help, because I can't do that alone, and neither can the Archbishop. There are two ways in which you can contribute to this beautiful campaign. One is the way that I prefer, online. Why? Because anybody in the office is going to tell you my head is everywhere. And if I were to rely on sending in a check with a little piece of paper, nothing will ever get done, and my car would have been repoed a long time ago. I prefer doing it online because it reminds me. I already budget that in my little amounts that I can give and put it there. I know what I'm able to give, and so I factor that in, separating that payment in 10 months, which makes it a little easier for me because, as you know, as priests, we don't really make a lot. That's not the reason why we become priests. But we do have enough to be able to pay it forward. And in the very same way that I do this for the ABCD, I tithe to the parish as well. Why do I do that? Principle. I couldn't possibly stand here and ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. And the very same way I say that, I'm not going to ask you to give of something you don't have. I'm asking you to be generous with what God has blessed you with in the very same way that I have. I've looked at people who have already started contributing to the ABCD for this year's campaign, and it is far way more than I can ever do. But that doesn't make my gift any less important. Each and every one of us, as we come together, we're able to pay it forward for all of those that we might not ever get to meet. But it's there, and that's where the money goes. And so I'm going to ask you, that was one way of doing it online. And with that, I would ask you, please, adamantly, make sure that when you do it online, and to do it online, all you have to do is go to our website. The link is there. All you have to look for is the ABCD logo. You can see it. It's very colorful. Once you click on that, there is going to be a pull-down menu. Make sure that you click on their nativity and not Little Flower. I love them, but this is for us. Make sure that you put in nativity, put in your information, and make sure that you are able to put in there what you're able to put. If you prefer the other way of doing it, which is with the pledge card, I'm going to ask these wonderful students who have donated their time to be here and to be able to pass out those pledge cards in just a minute. I'm going to ask you not to fill that out today. Why? Because you need to think and pray about it. And you need to consult with your spouse. And when you come to that figure, whatever that is, then I ask you, please, bring it back next week and put it in the collection basket. We'll take it from there. If you're confused, if you don't know how any of that works, our doors are open. That's what the office staff is there to do, to be able to help you. And whether through a phone call or if you drop by for a visit, we will help you to make sure that what you want is exactly what is on there. So I'm going to ask those of you who prefer the pledge card to please raise your hand so that these wonderful students are able to pass around and hand you that pledge card. Just hold your hand up way high so that they can see you, and they'll pass those around. As you're going around passing out those pledge cards, I once again want to thank you. Thank you for your generosity, and thanking you for allowing me to be able to concentrate on my studies those 9 years. However broken and however many mistakes I might make along the way as a priest, know that full well what I do with love and with my heart on my sleeve. For those who know me know that that's the way I operate. Everything that I do, not only for this parish, but in every parish I've been, has always been for the love of God and for the love of the people of God. So again, my brothers and sisters, on behalf of the Archbishop and myself personally, thank you for your generosity. God bless you.